Jeff, the thing that I think is, I mean, you've got the forensics. That's one part of the case, which can be quite damning in certain instances. We haven't seen the test results or anything like that, but it doesn't help. For instance, it was 3/10 of a mile from the home. But when you read things like that, the detectives talked to her that night, and she's described as having no emotion, just stoic. And in their description, she's out getting a tattoo. We know she's out clubbing. Her friends are in here saying she was acting normal. She never mentions it. What do you tell a jury about that one?
Yeah. You know, we always have these in trials. We always have these situations that are just tough to explain. But I think you have to start in voir dire and jury selection. And I think you have to start to educate the people that just because somebody's opinion is that she's not showing emotion doesn't mean she doesn't have emotion. Everybody shows it differently. So I think you have to start in jury selection, working with your jury, letting them understand that there may be a different story or a different side to all of these issues, and that they just can't believe an officer that says she had no emotion. Maybe she's one of these people that holds it all inside, and she released her emotion by herself in the cell at night. So I think you got to start in jury selection, educating this jury that there's going to be a different side or a different side of the coin for a lot of these issues.
Pam, what strikes me about it, and you're a prosecutor, we even have phone numbers, I mean, that we're getting of witnesses, addresses, these text messages. It's unbelievable. I mean, nothing's blacked out for us. I mean, it's almost open season for us now on all these people.
And Greta, that's how Florida law operates. We have one of the broadest public records laws in the country. And back to what Jeff said about jury selection, I think that's a great defense strategy, but the prosecutors are truly going to have an advantage in this case, just given her demeanor and her actions. And look at, I mean, even all these text messages, Greta, her friends on the day that they learn that Kaylee's missing, all her good friends are saying, what? I had lunch with you and you didn't even mention your daughter's gone.
Diana, the question I threw to Jeff Brown, you got any suggestion for Jose Baez? Because, you know, this does not look like, I mean, I've seen women who are missing their children in a shopping mall for 5 minutes who are absolutely, you know, psychotic, upset. This woman's out getting tattoos.
Agreed. What Jose Baez needs right now is a time machine, so he can go back about 5 months and redo this whole thing altogether. He did not leave himself any options. He did not leave himself a mental health out. He did not leave himself it was an accident with a botched cover-up job. He did not leave himself any alternatives there at the beginning, and I think that has really boxed him into a corner. You know, unfortunately, he's on TV a week before the body's found claiming this child's alive. That doesn't give you a whole lot of extra credibility to go into jury selection with, and you got to do with what you have at this point, but I think he needs a time machine.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Panel, if you'll stand by, we have much more up next. Casey Anthony's lawyer is not taking this line down. The Florida Bar is now investigating